This is not cops and robbers or three-dimensional chess or any game you ever played.
The rabbit hole of what you thought was true isn't true.
The enemy is everywhere, but he can't be seen.
Everybody who is paranoid will justify their paranoia.
Eyes and ears will be on you everywhere, and you must act accordingly.
This series is about lies and who to trust, when to trust.
It requires absolute commitment to the plan, absolute trust in one another, and absolute doubt in anyone else. Now, if you can't do that, there's no point in going any further.
The show harkens back to 70s thrillers. I think it's the sort of moody lighting and empty spaces. Because it's part like a cautionary tale and a character study at the same time. And so we're kind of building worlds where it feels the world's a little impersonal, a little bigger than everything. Our main character is very lonely in the world, and so he's often framed by himself and in big spaces.
Is something wrong?
I don't know, I just got a bad feeling.
When you take a look at the genre of the thriller, kind of mid to late 70s and early 80s, kind of the highlight of that genre. All of those films, you know, whether it was Marathon Man, I mean, there's just so many great thrillers of that time that you use them as reference points. You do that with reverence and respect and honor. But I think that they certainly have a very, very healthy respect and admiration for those movies. Naturally, they would start to have an impact on choices they made as writers.
For those of us who lie for a living, our only connection to reality are the people who really, really know us.
Kurt Vonnegut said, "Show me a writer, I'll show you someone who hates the right." And I think it's really true, but not on this show. For some reason, this show was just a dream for us to write. The production was a nightmare. It was really hard to make because we're pretty proud of the fact that it really looks like a movie. But that's a lot of shots and a lot of locations and dealing with COVID, and we all put our blood, sweat, and tears into this show to make it really look like a movie. Like these movies from the 70s, these espionage movies.
Like I literally can't tell the difference between what's real and what's not.
I think we're living in a world where we're dealing with kind of a looseness of the truth that is just kind of shocking. When you see, you know, high-profile political figures start talking about alternative facts, we're in a complicated time. And I think as we are starting to adjust as a society to this incredible technological revolution that we've been going through for 10, 15 years, humans are slow to adapt, and it's going to take us some time to get used to it. And so we're in the process as a society navigating that kind of world. And this show kind of leans towards that.
See, a country rife with anger and division is a job already half done.
How we can use alternative truths and alternative facts to someone's benefit and actually shape our own history.
Well, media dictates our lives now. And there's obviously the conspiracy theorists, or they have their little niche of public audience, and then the big media. It's just we live in this world where who the hell's telling the truth? We all accuse each other of fake news. So who's lying? So it's another level of the same thing. Who's lying? Who's really the bad guy? Who's really the good guy? What's the motivation?
Hey, that paranoia, it's gonna trip you up one day, Weir.
Have a good afternoon, Special Agent Maddie.
In today's world with conspiracies and data and high tech, I think we're all a little paranoid these days, rightfully so. We kind of put in the 70s to shame in terms of paranoia maybe, but we could definitely use some of those 70s movie tropes to help us tell the story of today's conspiracy-laden world.
People are revealing themselves. No one is who they seem. They're sort of trying to play into the paranoia of, can you really trust anybody? Because anybody in this thing can be something else.
I need to know what's going on and why.
Reality can shift at any moment, and we try to do that in every episode.
You think Shaw really has an informant in the government?
Sure. Same guy who shot the moon landing in that studio in Area 51.
I think it's so fun to be surprised. I mean, so often you read things or see things and you can see what's coming a mile away, and that is not the case with Rabbit Hole.
When you have a show that has so many twists and turns, you have choices whether or not to show them, when to show them, how to show them, and you can disappear down a rabbit hole of possibilities and stay up all night weighing those possibilities.
I think what John and Glenn do so beautifully is they kind of create these moments that play against the backdrop of what is actually happening. That kind of contradiction is something very nice to play against and play with. What?
It's also about manipulating people's perception. Is this reality or am I being manipulated? And I think that there are just so many parallels with the worlds we're living in today, where so much of the media or, social media is giving us certain messages. And it's hard to understand, okay, what is real and what is a message that I'm being fed so that I can behave or act or buy or vote or whatever it is.
And those who say they prize privacy over all things, I have to ask, what do you have to hide?
Even though this is a really fun ride, I think the theme is very pertinent to what is happening today in our own culture.
It turns out Ed's so-called body was accidentally cremated before it could be DNA tested. Are you shitting me? I mean, you think this shit's some kind of coincidence?
It's easy to distract yourself with things that you feel like you can control. When it gets ripped out from under you, stop what you're doing. Look, this is actually what's happening. And this is what the reality is.
I'm gonna get those answers, folks. My source, Zayas. He said he's gonna get me proof that Ed is not dead. And Edward Hom is the story here.
The thing about going down a rabbit hole is you can't come back from that, really. Once you learn something, it's changing your perspective in a way that you can't go backwards.
At the root of it is there's a fair degree of paranoia. Because of Ben's career prior to his fake suicide, he's been very, very wary about trusting anybody.
The Algorithms of Control are the title of a scientific work that Dr. Ben Wilson came up with after years of study in psychology. And basically, it's how to manipulate human behavior and exploit it.
We use them to undermine elections, sway public support, and elect favorable regimes. All that mattered was that those governments fell in line with U.S. interests.
It's based on reality. The Algorithms of Control is sort of a fanciful way of saying a larger category of psychology and hacking of human behavior. This is an ongoing field of study in psychology. And it basically is saying that our perception of reality is plastic. You can manipulate people into thinking the way you want them to if you have enough information. The human mind is a hackable organ. And we're in the midst of sort of an emerging field of science where you can manipulate people into thinking the way you want and acting the way you want. That this notion of free will is in fact reaching perhaps its end.
Who is this? How do you know that? How could you know that? Please don't. I'll do whatever you want.
We're all being manipulated in a way, whether it's through sales,
political agendas,
political campaigns, whatever. Everyone's trying to reach you and manipulate you and get you to do stuff, and
we're willingly giving them our data. We're willingly letting them know what we like and don't like, and letting them see our correspondence, and we're open. And all they need to do is harvest it and weaponize it, and they have control over us. And it's happening. I mean, it seems like every day there's a new story in the news about it happening. So,
we live in a world now where nobody trusts anything. You don't trust the news. You don't trust what's in front of you. People can put up a picture, the inauguration, and say it was the largest attended one. It's like, everybody feels like they're being gaslit. There are conspiracies everywhere, some real, some incredibly wacky, but nobody feels like they can really trust anything anymore. And that's kind of the world that all these characters inhabit.